Mark for inviting the co-op and me to come and participate. The food plan is exciting and huge and broad, and I hope that it gets not only adopted and acted on here in Santa Fe, but really throughout the state and throughout the region, because it really hits the nail on the head in so many ways. And at the co-op, we definitely have a shared vision with so many of the sub-goals of the various areas of the plan. 8 years ago, we started our food hub. It was one of the first in the nation, food shed, food hub work. We've been supporting Cooking with Kids at Gonzales Elementary, feeding all those kids with Cooking with Kids for the past, I think, 6. How many years? Yay! Love you guys. And we really think it's important to create the next generation of farmers. We do that in a variety of educational ways. The most recent is our Veteran Farmer Project. We're working with the VA to train returning veterans in agricultural processes, both vegetable production and animal husbandry. So many of the things that are in the plan are near and dear to our hearts at La Montanita Co-op. Want to really thank the plan for also looking at the importance of maintaining agricultural lands in agricultural production and not just developing them with a bunch of McMansions, and maintaining a view of the importance of water, maintaining our water supplies for agriculture. And that being said, I have 2 requests of the plan, and that is to really look very carefully at water for agriculture, and also a most immediate request, and that is FSMA, the Food Safety Modernization Act, which is the first food safety federal law that we have since 1938. The FDA is still taking public comment until November 15th. Many of the provisions in FSMA will very negatively impact small family farmers, small and medium-sized family farmers. So if we really want to institute the Santa Fe food plan, we need to be able to protect those farmers and not make the safety requirements so odious that they can no longer bring their food to market. And that's something that's been on our mind a lot. We work with about 500 local small family farmers throughout the state. 20% of everything we purchase and sell is locally produced through our warehouse distribution network that runs trucks around a 300-mile. We did $3.5 million in sales, in purchases and sales of local products. $6 million total for the whole co-op, and we are really small in comparison to the food industry here in New Mexico and certainly in the nation. So if we as a small organization can do that with so many little local farmers, the importance of protecting them is key. And finally, I'd like to say that mention has been made of the farm bill that is coming up and protecting SNAP and WIC and food access for poor folks and reduced income or limited income, and I think a lot of seniors, and I think about all my veterans who are on disability pay and have very limited income. And in addition to that, there are other provisions in the Farm Bill that are so important, and key is transferring some of the money that goes to big agribusiness into what they call the specialty crop grant area, which is all the production of our fruit and vegetables, and not our big commodity products that go into all of those processed foods that we know are so unhealthy. So I would ask you all, if you really care about the Santa Fe Food Plan, which is an amazing plan, and we hope to see it really enacted really statewide, not just here in Santa Fe, that you look at those 2, FSMA and the Farm Bill, get active on it, and let's make it be what we need it to be to protect our small family farmers. And then ramble, so I'm going to stop.
Hello everybody, happy Food Day. I have to admit, I didn't know it was Food Day until Lynn told me. So I'm hoping that maybe that will take off so students will know that there is such a thing as Food Day. So my expertise is as an educator. I was recently at a conference, and one of the questions they posed to all of the educators, are you preparing students for jobs in 2050? And, you know, that's kind of staggering to think about. So tonight I was thinking, are we preparing students to be stewards of good food in 2050? Because the kids in my building, you know, they're going to be the ones carrying the torch for healthy food. Cooking with kids has been wonderful. It's been in our building since I've been there. And better than being world-class, it's student-loved. The kids love it. And kids, when given the opportunity to use fresh ingredients, they love it. It's not that they need cupcakes to be happy. So I think educating our students is really, really important because there's some assumption that they gravitate to food that isn't healthy. And that's not true. They love apples, you know, and if they have cut up vegetables with ranch, they're just as happy to eat that as a cupcake. So we have to remember that and not think that we're trying to impose something on students by trying to give them the healthiest choices for food. The federal dollars, we really do need those. I love the things Janet said, and I need to read her book. The federal dollars, we need them to feed all of our kids. But how can we do it so that it's more local food and it resembles the kind of food that they make when they have something like cooking with kids? The other thing I wanted to mention, this year my building was lucky enough to come to the farmers market through the Santa Fe Farmers Market Institute Children's Nutrition Program. And the kids loved it, the teachers loved it, the kids were able to come to the farmers market, have a tasting, get tokens, and the kids were just beaming, coming back with fresh fruits, vegetables, you know, cut flowers. For some of the students, it's the first time they've ever purchased cut flowers, and they were just beaming. So there are just so many ways to integrate important food policy with education that I hope it will take off, and we can make those kind of partnerships like cooking with kids. So that's my piece.
Well, I guess first of all, I just want to thank everyone for the invitation to be here with you this evening, and also for all of those people who have taken the time and have contributed the energy to come up with this plan. And thirdly, everyone who is here tonight to hear us speak and to, I guess, kick off this sort of this new age here in Santa Fe. So, I guess with regards to the plan, there's really two things that I was intrigued with. The first one is education. And I'll talk a little bit about why I think that's important as it pertains to the experience that I've had out in the southwest sector of the community. But the other part of that is goal number 4. Goal number 4, and I think it's the third chili or something that talks about connecting farms to tables in schools. I think those things are important because so much of what Santa Fe and northern New Mexico is about is that rural agricultural kind of environment that has been a part of us for many, many, many years. And then the other thing is the growth food goal or component and having to do with having gardens in the schools. The city of Santa Fe or the city, we have gardens in some of our parks, but I think it would be worthwhile to have, you know, some activities in our schools so that we can then provide those fresh vegetables to our children. I just want to talk a little bit about the experience that I've had out in the southwest sector of the community. I started this about 3 years ago, just talking about how is it that I can help improve quality of life of the people out in the southwest sector of the community. And I chose to use an overarching theme of healthy community. And that means a lot of things, but one of the things that it doesn't mean is healthy food, and that people need to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and they need not be inundated with McDonald's and all the other stuff that's out there. But some of the demographics that exist is that you have a population that is young. I think 3 of the 4 largest schools in the city of Santa Fe are in that area. There's over 2,000 public school students who go to school in that area. I'm talking about the airport road corridor. It's a very poor population, and it has the highest minority population as well. When we talk about childhood obesity and the rate of diabetes, it's a concern for America in general, but it's even much more of a concern for the Latino population or Latino students in childhood obesity and sugar diabetes and that sort of thing. So that's part of what has piqued my interest in this. Part of the reason that Latinos are at risk is because they are young, and that's evident just in the population that exists out in that part of our community. And secondly, we have a lot of liquid assets, a lot of cash. They spend their cash as they make it. And so there's lots of things that we're fighting. We're fighting corporate America and I guess their advertising powers to market to young children, Happy Meals, those sorts of things, the toys that come in those things. But the two factors that I hear from constituents are, number one, that they want more fast food restaurants, which is why the education piece is important. And the reason that they want it is, number one, because it's cheap, and number two, because it's quick. And when you're a single mom with 3 kids, you don't have time to be going home and cooking. So those are the challenges that we have. And so one of the things that we've done, let me back up a little bit. When we talk about our children, Councilor Boucher was asking about the free and reduced lunch population in that part of our community. There are some schools that are 100% free and reduced lunch. And I would gather to, or venture to say that anywhere from 80 to 90% of the whole student population in that part of our community is free and reduced lunch. And so that just kind of demonstrates the level of poverty that exists. So I guess to finish off, when we talk about healthy communities and we talk about healthy food, the big challenge that I've had is how do you define healthy food? I tried to do some legislation through our land use code that would eliminate drive-thrus. That's not popular. It's something that I'm still interested in. And at the very least, you think that we'd be able to eliminate double drive-thrus, so it won't be so easy to get junk food. But at the same time, it's something that constituents want. And it's very important that we educate them about the why so that they can live healthier lives. And quite frankly, it's less of a burden on our national economy and some of the other challenges that we're experiencing even today. So that's kind of the big picture of it. I'm going to make a selfish little plug just real quick. This next Friday and Saturday, November 1st and 2nd, we're going to be kicking off a Quality of Life initiative with Senator Heinrich's office and Congressman Lujan, lots of other co-sponsors. We're going to be talking about quality of life, what does quality of life mean, and healthy food is going to be a specific panel that will be happening in the afternoon. So I guess that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm new to Santa Fe. I've lived here for about 6 months. It absolutely is a delight every day of my life. But I've worked in sustainable agriculture and the hunger field since 1983, the year my daughter was born. I think this is a really wonderful plan. I think we have a lot of work to do, and because there are a lot of knowledgeable people out there who are anxious to talk and ask questions rather than to hear us talk, I'm going to confine my comments to just 4 things. I represent the Santa Fe Farmers Market Institute, which is the 501c3 partner of this market. We kicked off Food Day a week ago by having a protest in front of this building, the Asaikio Association and the Association of Native American Farmers about the lack of a farm bill. This farm bill is very, very serious, not only for the things that have been talked about, but we need to finally get real with our legislators about what kind of farm bill we need for Santa Fe, northern New Mexico family farmers. And all of you need to do that. If you eat, you're involved in agriculture. And you have a stake in seeing how things like the Farm Bill go. This will be the first time since the Eisenhower administration, if things go the way they go now, where food and feeding hungry people has been divorced from farm aid. And that's a divorce which should not occur. And you need to be serious when you talk with your legislators. Two, we're very concerned at the farmers market and at the Institute about who gets to eat healthy food. It's wonderful to live here. It's not wonderful to move into a state where you discover that the hungriest and the poorest kids in the nation live in your state. Our response has been the following. We have an EBT doubling program, and our board, we've only been able to do that about a quarter of the year. We have decided to raise an extra $60,000 so we can match EBT cards year-round at this market. We're now 1/3 of the way through that. And to add this thought to that basket, many of the farmers who work at this market make less than $10,000. They could qualify for food stamps, but they're not getting food stamps. They have food. What they need is something else. Number 3, the one problem we don't talk about, and to me, this is my worst surprise of living here. Some weeks, many farmers leave this market with 1/3 of their truck filled with the most gorgeous produce I've ever been associated with. And that produce goes to landfills on their farms of compost use. It feeds chickens, it feeds pigs. If we have the best produce in the country, we're consistently among the top 10 farmers markets in this country, how can farmers be leaving here with a lot of produce in the back of their truck? What's wrong with that picture? Last, I just want to say what many other people have said, and that is, if you want to have the quality of food you can buy at this market, we all need to be very serious about the decisions that are made about water and about land. You need to make decisions for local food, and that's an important part of development. Developing a healthy local populace ought to be part of the water and land decisions that we make. So I want to urge all of you to start shopping more. Support the farmers at this market. In this community, it isn't that we don't have enough food. It's that we're not getting the food to everyone who is hungry. And people who could buy local produce are buying it somewhere else. Support our farmers.
So thank you all very much. Those are all incredibly helpful remarks, and they're going to find their way one way or another into our food plan. We're running a little behind, but not too far. Hopefully you have a few comments, a few questions right now. Remember, if you don't get heard now, we have space and room for you to comment up here on our boards over on my right-hand side. So we certainly hope you add your thoughts through the sticky note process, as well as conversations you can have afterwards with members of the Food Policy Council. So I have a hand right here. You can identify yourself. Why don't you use that? Okay.
Some of you may know me. I'm Roy Stevenson, and I'm here because John is watching the second game of the World Series. Those of you who don't know John, my father, he's 99 years old. He's a native of Santa Fe. And for the last 40-some years, he and my mother, now just he and I, have operated something called the Community Farm. Many of you know about it. This is all about the future, and it's wonderful. But if you want to know about the past and the last 80 years or 90 years in Santa Fe, you can come out and join us. And if you want to have a real physical experience with what this plan is all about in words and paper, our dirt is free. It's available to anyone to come out, and I'll just tell you a quick story of how the system works. You all know about Kitchen Angels, right? Kitchen Angels prepares food, and as they're doing that, they chop up the vegetables and they put it in a bucket for compost. And then we put the compost in our compost heap, and then we put the compost on the ground, and then we grow the vegetables, and then we take them to the food depot, and then the food depot takes them to the Kitchen Angels, and then they cook it up and they bring it to John for dinner. So you can be a part of that cycle of nature, and you can join us. We're always looking for volunteers. Come see me afterwards. I've got brochures. It's the best kept secret. Where's Dr. Speaker? It's the best kept secret in Santa Fe. How many of you have been by it and didn't know that it was there? Some of you do know it's there. Some of you have been there. Good. Tell your friends. Come on out. It's all just labor and food and kind of a... My father must have been ahead of his time. Thank you.
Maybe we could start a little queue up here if you want to speak, because the microphone is helpful. Maybe you could line up over here.
My coworker and I, we work over at the New Mexico State Record Center and Archives on Camino Carlos Rey, and we just wanted to invite you all tomorrow. We're having an event. Esteban Ariano is actually going to speak at the event, the man who was just quoted, and it's all about agriculture. It's called Growing as We Go. We're going to have prehistoric looks at agriculture. Office of Archaeological Studies will be representing there. Historians, authors, academics, pretty much everyone will be there tomorrow. We're going to have a reading of the proclamation that'll start at 9:30, the governor's proclamation. And we should have brought programs, but we forgot. So it's going to have perspectives on prehistoric and early Spanish colonial agriculture, and that's going to be followed by, let me see here, some book signings by some different authors who've done agricultural books, and then another session on sustaining our seeds, so seed collecting and stuff like that. So if y'all want to come over and join us, it'll be a day full of interesting events. And then on Saturday, we're also having a film screening, a historic film screening at the screen at the University of Art and Design. 1205 Camino Carlos Rey. Yeah, it's going to be really cool, so get a chance. It starts at 9:30 in the morning, and it's going to go all the way to 4:45 p.m. There's a lot of lectures and stuff going on. And we're also going to be renaming the Carmen Quintana collection. She was collected a lot of records in the Mora area on land, and we'll be renaming it because her son passed away, so that will be during the lunch hour.
Sir?
Good evening, my name is Mitch Busick. My question is about GMOs and Monsanto, and I'm wondering, number one, if those issues are addressed in the plan. I haven't seen the plan. And secondly, what's the status of the decision by Patty and Kathy to have an ordinance in the county banning GMO stuff?
There's at least two references that I'm recall right now in the food plan relating to a proposed education program for both producers and consumers about the risks associated with GMOs and what the alternatives might be, and that's something that the Food Policy Council is pushing for, and also for the creation of GMO-free zones in certain portions of the county where the use of GMO seed would be prohibited by the community itself. Those are the two areas that we're looking at right now, and those will probably, I can't speak for Councilwoman Boucher or for Commissioner Holian, but we're hoping that will constitute the the recommendations that we put forward and will be considered by those bodies. Anybody, is that, anything else on that you want to comment on?
Mitch, we, of course, did what we did at the city level, which is to ask Congress to consider labeling GMO foods and to have what we would have to have as a voluntary food labeling here in the city. And then we sent to the county, because of course that's where the majority of the agricultural efforts are, the hope for a cultivation ban, and they are considering overlay zones. I know there are some parts of the county, more the southern part of the county is my understanding, near Edgewood, that are less interested in that, but I do believe almost all of the farmers and growers are interested in having a cultivation ban of some kind. So it morphed from a ban to maybe an overlay zone, and also with a concentration, I believe, on seed banks as well for GMO-free seeds.
Hi, I'm Susan Odysseus. I'm a new member for the Food Policy Council, but I'm here right now in terms of Food for Santa Fe. Many of you have heard of Food Depot, and you may think that we're part of that, but Food for Santa Fe is actually a food pantry, giving out bags of food, up to 900 bags every Thursday morning. And the reason I came up here, not knowing how appropriate it was, is to give a plea. If you're really interested in helping feed people in need, on Wednesday and Thursday mornings, we pack food on Wednesday. Thursday we finish the packing with eggs, any fresh products we get, and a dozen eggs, and bread. The real thing, excuse me, thank you. This weekend, a gentleman farmer from El Dorado called and said, I have a whole bunch of covered squash. So we went and got it, and I thought, oh my goodness, are the people we serve going to know what to do with it? We're trying to form a nutrition committee, so if anyone's interested in that, we welcome that. But in any case, I went online, got a recipe, printed it in Spanish and English, and we gave out about 50 covered squash this morning, along with our bags of dried beans and rice and so forth. So, Food for Santa Fe, if you're interested in helping, we'd love to have you.
Those are